Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. This time we're talking about a pretty hot topic going around in the IT world, migrating virtual machines from, uh, you know what, I'm not going to say the name, but you know what I'm talking about, over to Proxmox.
Yeah,
And if you're listening, you're probably already pretty plugged into this whole tech world, so you already know things are moving pretty fast.
yeah, for sure.
And this migration is more than just, like a fad.
Right.
It's like a sign of where things are going.
Absolutely.
Think about it. Maybe you're feeling the pinch from rising software costs.
Right.
Maybe you just want a little more control over your systems. Or maybe you just had enough of those restrictive licensing agreements.
Totally.
If any of that sounds familiar, this is the deep dive for you.
Yeah, it's a big deal. What's really interesting is that this whole migration thing, it's happening at the same time as some big changes in how software is even made and given to people.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing a move away from that old school model of buying it up front and moving towards those subscription-based
Yeah.
services. And this can really change things for organizations, especially when you think about budgeting and long-term planning.
Right. And let's be honest, those ongoing subscription fees, they can really add up.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention feeling like you're stuck with one vendor.
Exactly. You're locked in.
So it's not a surprise that open source solutions like Proxmox are becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, they're gaining traction.
But why Proxmox specifically? What makes it stand out from all the other virtualization options?
Well, Proxmox offers this great mix of being cost-effective and flexible, and it's got awesome community support.
Right.
First off, it's open source, which means no more crazy licensing fees.
I like the sound of that.
Imagine cutting your virtualization costs, maybe even like by 70%.
Wow.
That alone can be a huge reason for organizations to switch, big or small.
That's a big deal, especially with how the economy is right
Oh,
now.
for sure.
But what about the technical side of things?
Uh-huh.
Is Proxmox as good and as powerful as those other paid solutions?
Absolutely. Proxmox is a really well-developed platform that can handle both containers and virtual machines.
Okay.
It's packed with features that are just as good and sometimes even better than what you find in those proprietary solutions.
Right.
Plus, because Proxmox is open source, it's got this amazing community of developers and users who are always making it better.
That's cool.
So you're not just getting a piece of software, you're getting this whole network of experts and support.
It's like having a global IT team available 24/7.
Exactly.
But, okay, let's be real. Migrating an entire virtual infrastructure can seem really intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
Like, where do you even start?
That's a good point. Migration is a big project,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to be overwhelming. There are two main ways to do it: manual conversion, which means getting your hands dirty and moving those virtual machines yourself.
Okay.
And then there's using a tool like the OVF tool, which can make things much smoother, especially if you have a lot to migrate.
All right, let's break those down a little bit. What does a manual conversion involve?
Think of it like moving from one house to another.
Okay.
A manual conversion is like carefully packing each item, labeling it, and then unpacking and arranging everything in your new place.
I like that.
So with virtual machines, this means prepping your systems, really understanding your current environment, converting your virtual disks from that, what format to Proxmox's QEMU format,
What?
and then very carefully mounting those disks within Proxmox. And of course, you got to test everything along the way to make sure it's all working.
Makes sense. It sounds pretty hands-on, but it gives you a lot of control. Now, what about the OVF tool? How does that simplify things?
The OVF tool, which stands for Open Virtualization Format Tool, it's like a moving company that can move entire rooms of furniture in one go.
Okay.
It lets you bundle an entire virtual machine, its disk, the configuration, all the settings into one package that you can move.
Nice.
Then you just import this package directly into Proxmox. That saves you tons of time and effort, especially when you're dealing with lots of virtual machines.
That sounds like a huge improvement. But there must be some catches, right? Not all migrations are the same.
Oh, you're absolutely right. The OVF tool is great, but you need to know what it can and can't do.
Of course.
For instance, it might not be the best fit for every situation, especially if you've got really specific or complex configurations.
I see.
You might have to make a few adjustments by hand after the initial move. Plus, the OVF tool can need a lot of bandwidth for larger migrations, so a strong and reliable network connection is super important.
And that's where a company like Stonefly can really help. They've been providing strong and innovative storage solutions for over 20 years.
Yeah, their expertise in high-performance SANs, NAS, and data security can be a huge help during migration.
And speaking of crucial technologies for smooth data migration, don't forget about ISCSI. In case you're not familiar, ISCSI or Internet Small Computer System Interface, is a really cool protocol that lets you connect to storage devices over a network.
Yeah, it's really useful.
It's widely supported by both, you know what, and Proxmox, and it can really boost the efficiency and speed of data transfer. For more information on ISCSI, you can check out www.iscsi.com.
Definitely.
And if you're curious about Stonefly's state-of-the-art storage solutions, make sure to visit stonefly.com.
Yeah, they have a ton of great resources.
They also have a dedicated sales team you can reach out to at sales@stonefly.com.
Stonefly really knows their stuff when it comes to data storage and security.
Definitely.
And with their experience in helping with big IT changes, they make a great partner for your migration.
For sure. They offer a bunch of solutions to make sure your data stays safe, accessible, and secure, even in the most challenging environments.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about two ways to do the migration: the manual route for those who want control over every little detail, and the OVF tool for those who want efficiency and easier transfers.
Right.
And along the way, it's super important to have a reliable data storage solution, like what Stonefly offers.
Couldn't agree more.
But before we jump into the bigger picture of why moving to Proxmox is such a big deal, let's take a quick pause. When we come back, we'll talk about why this migration is about much more than just switching software.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's get back to the actual how-to of migrating from that, to Proxmox. We've talked about the two main ways to do it: manual conversion and using the OVF tool. Let's start with the manual method.
Okay.
It might seem a bit more involved, but it gives you a lot of control and really helps you understand what's going on behind the scenes.
So let's walk through it. Where do we even begin with this whole data transfer thing?
First things first, preparation is key, like with any IT project,
Right.
especially a migration. Make sure both your, and Proxmox environments are good to go.
Hmm.
Double check that any network storage you're using, like an NFS, can be accessed by both. It's kind of like making sure there's a clear path to move your stuff between two places. And when we talk about network storage, Stonefly really knows what they're doing. They've got over 20 years of experience with data solutions. Their SANs give you the performance, reliability, and scalability you need for a smooth migration.
That makes sense. You need a good foundation for a smooth move. What's the next step in this manual migration process?
Next, you need to understand your current environment inside and out.
Okay.
This means documenting everything about your hosts, your virtual machines, how much resources they use, disk sizes, network settings, basically anything that's important for them to run properly.
So it's like taking inventory of all your digital furniture before you move.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
What happens after we've got all this documented?
Now we get to the heart of the conversion. The main difference between that, and Proxmox is how they format their virtual disks. The first one uses VMDK files, while Proxmox uses the QEMU format. So you'll need to convert those VMDK files to the QEMU format. Proxmox has this command line tool called Q that can do that for you. And all that documentation you did earlier, that's your guide for this part.
So it's like translating a recipe from one language to another, making sure every ingredient and instruction is converted correctly. Sounds pretty technical.
Yeah, it does need some technical know-how, but there are resources out there to help you. Once your virtual disks are converted, you mount them in your Proxmox environment.
So now we're arranging the furniture in our new digital house.
Exactly. You can use either the Proxmox web interface or command line tools to create new virtual machines within Proxmox and attach those converted disks to them.
Gotcha. So we've prepped, converted, and mounted. What's the last step in this manual migration dance?
The final act is testing. Once your virtual machines are moved over, it's super important to test everything thoroughly.
Of course.
Boot them up, check the network, make sure all the applications and services are running smoothly.
Right.
Think of it as a final walkthrough to make sure everything is working before you settle into your new digital home.
Can't skip that step. So that's the manual conversion route: detailed, hands-on, and lots of control. Now, what about the OVF tool? You said it can make things easier, especially when you have a lot to migrate.
Right. The OVF tool, which stands for Open Virtualization Format Tool, is like having professional movers take care of everything. It lets you package an entire virtual machine, including its disk, configuration, and all its settings, into a single file.
Okay.
And then you import this file directly into Proxmox.
So instead of moving each piece of furniture one by one, we're moving entire rooms at once.
Exactly. It's much more efficient.
How does this process work?
First, you download and install the OVF tool on your Proxmox server. Then you use the tool to connect to your, server and tell it where on your Proxmox server you want the virtual machine to go.
Simple enough. And then the tool takes care of the rest.
Yep. The OVF tool handles transferring the virtual machine, including converting the disk format if needed. How long it takes depends on how big the virtual machine is and your network speed, but it's usually much faster than doing it manually. And speaking of efficient and reliable data transfers, using a strong storage solution like Stonefly's SANS is a great idea.
Makes sense.
They can make sure your data is moved quickly and safely.
That saves a lot of time, especially if you're moving multiple virtual machines.
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest advantages of the OVF tool. It's great for migrating lots of virtual machines. Even if you're getting rid of a whole server, it does the heavy lifting and streamlines the whole process.
Super helpful for organizations going all in on Proxmox. Are there any limitations with this tool?
While it's a powerful tool, the OVF tool might not work perfectly for every situation.
Nice.
For example, if you have very specific or complex configurations, you might have to tweak a few things manually after the migration. Also, moving lots of data can put a strain on your network. That's where Stonefly's expertise in high-performance storage solutions comes in. Their SANs are built to handle demanding tasks and make sure your data stays safe and accessible during the whole migration. For more information, check out their website, stonefly.com, or contact their sales team at sales@stonefly.com. They've been helping customers for over 20 years and really understand the challenges of data migration.
So a powerful tool, but with a few things to keep in mind. Now, before we talk about the bigger strategic reasons for this migration, let's talk about data security.
Okay.
When you're migrating virtual machines, you're basically moving your most valuable asset, your data. Making sure the data is protected during this whole process is super important.
Absolutely. Data security is non-negotiable. And this is where a company like Stonefly, the pioneer of SAN, can really help. They've been leading the way in data storage and security for over 20 years. Their solutions are built to make sure your data is safe, available, and secure, even in the toughest situations.
Speaking of data security and efficient data transfer, let's mention ISCSI again. It's a great protocol that lets you connect to storage devices over a network. And it's supported by both you-know-what and Proxmox, which makes data migration much smoother. For more information on ISCSI, check out www.iscii.com.
That's a good point. ISCSI is really important for modern storage solutions. Understanding how it works can be a big help when you're planning a migration. And if you're interested in Stonefly storage solutions, their website, stonefly.com, is a great place to start. You can also reach out to their sales team at sales@stonefly.com. They can talk to you about your specific needs and how their solutions can help you move to Proxmox.
Now, shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about why migrating from to Proxmox is such a big deal strategically. This isn't just about changing software. It's about thinking differently about your IT infrastructure. What are the main benefits for organizations that choose Proxmox?
Well, first off, there's the cost savings. We've already talked about how Proxmox is much more affordable than those other solutions, which can make a big difference for an organization's bottom line. On top of that, Proxmox gives you more flexibility and control.
Can you explain that a little more? What does that flexibility and control look like in real life?
Sure. Because Proxmox is open source, you have complete control over your infrastructure. You can customize it to fit your exact needs, try out different configurations, and even contribute to making the platform better. You just can't do that with those proprietary solutions.
That's a big plus, especially with how quickly technology changes these days.
Yeah.
Organizations need to be able to adapt quickly, and Proxmox lets them do that.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the awesome open source community around Proxmox. There's so much knowledge, experience, and support available online, from forums to documentation to tutorials. It's a huge help for organizations that are new to Proxmox or need help figuring things out.
It's like having a global network of experts ready to help. That's a valuable resource for any IT team. So we've got cost savings, more control, and a supportive community. What other strategic advantages does Proxmox offer?
Well, one thing that people often overlook is the potential for innovation. Because Proxmox is open source, organizations can try out new technologies and integrate them into their existing infrastructure more easily.
Interesting.
This can lead to new efficiencies, new capabilities, and even new business opportunities.
So it's not just about keeping up with the latest trends, it's about being ahead of the curve. That's a strong argument for Proxmox.
Absolutely. And don't forget about the long-term benefits of choosing an open source solution like Proxmox. You're not tied to a specific vendor, you're not stuck with their pricing, and you have the freedom to choose the best tools and technologies for your organization, both now and in the future.
It sounds as moving to Proxmox isn't just a technical upgrade. It's a strategic move that can help organizations succeed in the long run. especially with how fast technology is changing. But before we finish up, let's go back to the importance of reliable data storage.
Okay.
No matter how powerful your virtualization platform is, it's all pointless if your data isn't secure and easy to access. And that's where Stonefly comes in, with their proven track record of providing robust and innovative storage solutions.
I completely agree. Stonefly's expertise in SANs, NAS, and data security is super valuable for organizations making a big IT change like this. Their solutions are designed to make sure data is safe, available, and secure, even in the most demanding environments.
And speaking of data security and efficient data transfer, we should mention ISCSI again. It's a powerful protocol that lets you connect to storage devices over a network.
Right.
It's widely supported by both, and Proxmox. This can make data migration a lot smoother and more efficient.
That's a great point. ISCSI is key for modern storage solutions, and understanding how it works can be really helpful when you're planning a migration. And if you're looking for more information on ISCSI or on Stonefly's storage solutions, their website, stonefly.com, is a fantastic resource. They also have a dedicated sales team you can reach out to at sales@stonefly.com.
Excellent advice. We'll make sure to include those details in the show notes. Now let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up this deep dive into migrating from, to Proxmox. We're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into migrating from, to Proxmox. We've covered a lot of ground, the reasons behind it, the methods, the technical stuff, and the strategic advantages. Now let's get to the heart of it. What's the main message we want our listeners to walk away with?
I think the biggest takeaway is that moving to Proxmox is more than just switching software. It's about adopting a whole new way of thinking about your IT infrastructure. It's about putting flexibility, cost effectiveness, and community first instead of relying on those proprietary solutions that can feel limiting and expensive.
It's like the difference between renting a tiny apartment and building your own spacious house.
Yeah, exactly.
You have more freedom to design things the way you want, more control over your space,
hmm
and you're investing in something that's truly yours.
That's a great analogy. And just like building a house, migrating to Proxmox needs careful planning and execution.
Right.
We talked about the technical steps, but remember, this is a journey, not just a destination. There will be bumps along the way, there will be things to learn, but the payoff in terms of saving money, having more flexibility and control in the long run, it can be huge.
So it's not a quick fix. It's an investment in a more adaptable and sustainable IT future. And speaking of investments, let's not forget how important data security is during this process.
Oh, absolutely.
Migrating your virtual machines is basically moving your most valuable asset, your data. Making sure that data is protected every step of the way is absolutely crucial. And this is where a company like Stonefly, with their deep understanding of data storage and security, can be a real lifesaver.
I couldn't agree more. Stonefly has been a leader in the storage world for over 2 decades. They get the challenges of data migration better than almost anyone. Their solutions are designed to make sure data stays safe, accessible, and secure, even in the most demanding situations. They were actually the pioneers of SAN technology, which shows how forward-thinking they are and how dedicated they are to innovation.
And let's not forget about ISCSI when we're talking about data security and efficient data transfer. It's a powerful tool that lets you connect to storage devices over a network, and both, and Proxmox support it, which makes data migration a lot smoother and more efficient. If you want to learn more about ISCSI, you can find all the details at www.icii.com.
That's a great point. ISCSI is a key part of modern storage solutions, and understanding how it works is really important for anyone planning a migration. And when it comes to reliable and high-performance storage, Stonefly is a name you can trust. They've been working with customers for over 20 years, and their expertise in SANs, NAS, and data security is unmatched.
If any of our listeners are curious about what Stonefly has to offer and want to learn more about how their solutions can help with a smooth and secure migration to Proxmox, they can head over to stonefly.com or contact their sales team at sales@stonefly.com. They're a great resource and can guide you through all the ins and outs of data storage and migration.
I definitely recommend reaching out to them. They're a fantastic resource, and their team can give you personalized advice based on your specific needs and challenges.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one last thought-provoking question. How can embracing open source solutions like Proxmox help businesses become more agile and adaptable in this ever-changing tech landscape? It's something to think about as you explore the world of Proxmox and all the possibilities it offers your organization.
That's a great question to end on. The move toward open source is a powerful trend, and Proxmox is a perfect example of how businesses of all sizes can benefit from it.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you found it helpful and insightful. And remember, the journey to a more flexible and cost-effective IT infrastructure starts with a single step.
Until next time.